Hello, everyone. Welcome back to VizConnect. I hope you're doing well. And today it's an honor to have Annabelle Rincon back to VizConnect. She's a Tableau visionary. She leads a lot of Tableau user group. But just to introduce Annabelle, I will just go ahead and talk about some of the great work she has gone ahead and achieved. So after having led successfully teams of data experts of different sizes and location for the past 15 years, Annabelle is currently leading the Tableau Center of Enablement at Wantable, where she uses her skills and passion to drive visual best practices adoption in our company. She considers data visualization and analytics her ikagi or purpose and enjoys fostering a community of practitioners in every organization she works. She is specialized in visual analytics and mastering Tableau, both desktop and server. She holds a Tableau Desktop Certified Professional certification and was recognized as a Tableau visionary and social media ambassador. In her free time, she co-leads Data Plus Women Zurich and Tableau Analytics User Group. So without further ado, I will hand it over to Annabelle to talk to us about communicating with data. Annabelle, over to you.
Thank you very much, Aga. Yeah, it's such an honor to be here. I've been invited again to come back, so yeah, it's a very honor for me. So let's just talk about the subject today. It's communicate with your audience. I think it's a very important topic, and I have seen, like, in a different organization where I work, that that was a little let aside, and I think it's very, very important. It's all of those small little detail, right? So when you are building a dashboard for someone, you are obviously asking them a lot of questions to try to understand their data, what they want to do with their dashboard, which action they want to take, and so on and so forth. And you really have to understand their business logic, their business problematic. But once the dashboard is done, the majority of the people say, yeah, it's done, I have nothing else to do. Wrong. You really have to display a dashboard that continue the communication, the dialogue that you had with your stakeholder. You need to have like different topic in mind, and that's the one that you will see today. So which kind of topic? What do you want to communicate, right? But you have a lot of things to communicate. First, you have like to speak with them about maybe the methodology that you have used for your dashboard, give some data context, because even if you told them during one meeting, they will forget it, and they will not remember when they will be using the dashboard. So you have to have still a communication in place in your dashboard. Sometimes it's a little soft, sometimes it's like more like shiny, let's say, but you have to be at every time that is very clear what is the methodology you have applied, what are the data discrepancy, what are like maybe when the data update. If you show a dashboard that doesn't update or didn't update in 2 weeks, it has to be clear for the user that the last update was 1 month ago, 2 weeks ago, 2 days ago. The same go for like the source. You always give the source of the data, where this data come from. So, and here it's the same. You see here on this PowerPoint, you may think that I have drawn this beautiful image by myself, but it's not true. Here it's like I took the design, let's say, template by like slidego.com, which has a lot of free resources, nice drawing, nice visual on that PowerPoint design. And I don't want to mislead you, right? So on the audience, I will have to do the same. So always give credit, always tell your source, and always say which methodology, which assumption you have done on the data. Then it's everything about interaction. When you put a dashboard up there, please, and I have the problem every day, you have to make your stakeholder users aware how to interact with the dashboard. What will happen when they will hover on a chart? What will happen when they will click? Where to find help? And sadly, I have seen a lot of dashboard in the past, so with absolutely no title, no subtitle, nothing, no guidance. And that is sad because you are losing your stakeholder, your user along the way. the same come with comments and label. It's very useful to have some comments in label at the disposal for your user to use. So it can be some tooltip, it can be some annotation. We will see some example later, but really like do that. Why? If you can ask me, why should I even bother? Because all these little steps, this communication that you will have with your user will help you to increase the adoption and the usage. If the user don't know how to use your dashboard, it will not be used, or it will not be used at its full potential. And at the end, yeah, it will stop being used, and it's just a loss of time, a loss of money for everyone. So really, by doing video dashboard understandable for them, you will increase adoption and the usage. The same go for the user experience. And again, I'm not getting crazy, especially on business dashboard. I always give advice to make a dashboard that is very easy to use, very simple design, either for the maintenance and also for, yeah, like we are in a business environment. We cannot spend, I don't know, 200 hours when we could have done like a dashboard that is good enough in terms of design and performance in 20 hours. So always keep that in mind. And yes, you want that it's easy to use, because if it will be easy and the user know how to use it, they will reveal some insights. So don't let your user down by not making this little improvement. So, and you have also to consider like different, here there is different type of dashboard over already, but let's focus on two. Depending on the experience that you want to bring to your user, some of these communication tips that I'm giving you today are more or less important. For instance, if you are doing an explanatory dashboard, so an explanatory is as visualizer, we provide the viewer with the main key data insight. We tell them what is important, where they have to focus their attention. So there, annotation, comment, storytelling are very important, whereas interaction maybe not so much, because they don't really have to play around too much with the data to try to find out what is important for them. Whereas an explanatory dashboard is what maybe, I don't know you, but in my case, it's 90% of my job. It's provide a tool for the business user to be able to find their own insight. And there, the how-to guide, how to use the dashboard, what happened when I click, when I hover, that is very, very important. And the interaction too, because they will need to drill down into the dashboard and try to find some insight, not so much as storytelling. So each time I will focus on annotation, how-to guides and everything. I will also specify if it's for an explanatory dashboard or for an exploratory dashboard. And I will illustrate my content with some dashboard that I did on my free time, so that you can find them on Tableau Public and they are all downloadable. So let's start with the methodology. And the methodology, it's what we said before, is give my user a better understanding of the data. And that both explanatory and exploratory are very crucial. It's very important to give this information. And for instance, it can be alert the user on some particular data aspect, specify the scope of the analysis, maybe it's the last 6 months, 3 months, 2 years, you know, clarify the goal of the visualization, and make them aware of any hypothesis that we have taken. So for instance, here's a screenshot, but don't worry, we will show, I will show also some Tableau dashboard. Here, I did a visualization about Tintin. So maybe not everyone of you know what is Tintin. Tintin was like a comic strip, very well known in France and in Belgium, because the author was from in Belgium, but after he traveled all around the world. But yes, it's still better known like in Europe. So this series come from 1930 until 1986. That's where like the drawing was released by his author Hergé. And obviously, if I do a visualization on that, a lot of people don't know Tintin. So I have to give an introduction. What is Tintin? It has been published from this date to this date. And by doing that, I also give like some also data inside that. It was very prolix before, until the 60s, and after very few albums were released later. And it's important that maybe I call it Tintin, but in different language, the name is different. So I provide here, you see, if you see my mouse, a language boxes, so people can change the language. So let's try to open the correct one. Yes, they can change the language and say, okay, in my language, how was the name of Tintin? So if we put I don't know, French, you already have it, and English too. If we change to Dutch, for instance, in Dutch character, Milou, it's not called Milou, but Bobby. So if I say to someone that is Milou, he will not understand. So I really need to give them some context and to put me on this place. And the same goal, let's go back to the PowerPoint. It's like I need to give some data context. That's what I tell you, right? So we had 24 albums from Tintin, but after we will make some comparisons for the number of pages each character appear. If I don't tell you that the first album contained 138 pages, whereas the rest of all the 23 albums contain 62 pages, you will make bad assumption on the data. So it's very important for me to tell you these kind of things. Otherwise, you can mislead your user. So again, here I'm taking an example very easy, but it can be much more complicated. So here's the same. Here's an illustration where I use these different pages. And I give the user, so here you can say already that is not an exploratory dashboard, but an explanatory. But both are true for this methodology aspect. Here I still put some interaction for the user, but I'm giving already like the best. The first album is quite dense with 138 in total. Click on the button to switch between the percentage of the page, between absolute and relative. But I'm already giving like some insight to my user. Okay, so that is another dashboard I have did in Tableau Public. So I love to have fun usually, so it's completely different from my business dashboard. It's okay, which animal will most likely kill you? And the conclusion is quite funny. If you have time, you can have a look. That maybe the most dangerous animal is not the one that we think. But on this visualization, I put like a different page where I explain the data methodology that I use. And here I'm specifying, hey, look, for building this visualization, I took 2 data sources. And this data source doesn't have the same level of aggregation. So you may have some discrepancy when you look at the total number of deaths by animal, if you consider by causes or by states. And that is very important for me, that you always explain the user because he hasn't or she hasn't worked with the data as you. So it's very important that you give them the full understanding. Okay, another topic that I wanted to talk to you today is the navigation. And that is like, more crucial for exploratory dashboard. It's very, very important that you explain user how to navigate between the different elements of the workbook. So in between the different worksheet, or in between different workbook itself, inside or outside, you know. So to facilitate the navigation across workbook, you have like different methods. You can obviously create a landing page between the different workbook. You can train them how to navigate in Tableau server. You can use a navigation button also to navigate in between different dashboards inside your same workbook. And something I love to show my user is because, you know, sometimes some user like wants me to build a landing page. I do it with pleasure, but I also teach them how to navigate in Tableau Server, like I said, but I show them also the favorite feature. In Tableau Server and Tableau Online, you can favorite your views. And at the end, you can go directly on, I think it's on the, left-hand side, favorite, and you have all your favorite workbook there or view. And it's very, very useful for some of the users. So why it's important? Because they need to be able to find the information that is more relevant for them. And if they don't know where to click, they will not be able to find it. So that's some slide that I present usually on my onboarding trainings, when I give onboarding trainings in my bank, and explain them the different level of navigation that they can do. And obviously, I tell them that, hey, here it's a navigation 1.0, like the very, very easy navigation that you can provide, and to a very much more complicated one. We will see some example, just to tell them that they don't need to reinvent the wheel, right? They can use the native Tableau Server navigation. So how to use, so you see here, it's a dashboard that's been published on Tableau Server, and you have the different tab. How you make this tab appear is just by clicking on Publish Workbook to Tableau Server, and click on Show Sheets at tab on More Option. So that is the one that is easy. Now, if you want to create a little more complex navigation, you can always use the navigation button in Tableau. So that is a good way for you, for instance, to create an home page, or to go here on visit navigation. How we do that? We can open quickly one. So here, for instance, you go to object, so dashboard on the left, object, navigation, you just drag and drop, let's put it floating. So just for you to see, automatically it will be written navigation, but you can totally edit this button. So the first things to do is tell Tableau where, by clicking on this button, the user will be drive. So you select the dashboard where you want to navigate to, and then you can select either like an image button or like a text button. If you select an image button, you can choose the image somewhere. We can put, I don't know, I have a lot of image here already open. Let's try to find a fun one. So for instance, this one, you can hit apply. And if they will click, for instance, on this little paw, they can be drive to, I don't know, a Milu analysis, like a special dog analysis. You can enter a little tooltip. You can do almost everything. So if you look at this one, that is already done, is navigate, we'll click to navigate to overview. Here it's a text button. It's not an image, because you can also put like some title like it has been done. And what is very important is a tooltip. Why? Because it's very important for a lot of reasons, and one of the reasons is to explain them what will happen when they will click. And you see here, it will say continue your journey. I'll click to navigate for me, but that's the idea. So yes, go back. So that's, you can obviously use a navigation button that is clear for them. You can even like have an info button, but that is not the same technique. And then I told them, okay, if you want like to give it a little more design, and you can totally have an overview like this, which doesn't imply so much work on your side. Again, I say business dashboard, we need to have like something that is clean, but doesn't require so much time spending on design. So here, how I do that, and I will show you, it's also navigation button, but I simply gray out these different dashboards. So let's try to open. Let's see if it's the correct dashboard. No, it was not this one. I think yes. So here it's again, it's fake data, so I'm not going to jail for showing anything here. So here it's a dashboard on a visit done by bankers. And you see, it's simply, yeah, it's cool. So I simply select different container. and my container has been grayed out. If I put a violet, now you see it better. So I just grayed out this container. This one is a text because nothing has to happen when I click because I'm already on visit. And portfolio overview, PF overview, and sales reco for recommendation are navigation button on the right. What exactly the same technique that I showed you, but when I navigate, now you see this is still gray out. I still have portfolio overview that is a text button, and the other one are navigation. So if I click, the same will happen. I will be dragged back to visit. And then in my bank, I tell them, hey, if you want to, I don't know, this dashboard go like to very high management, in that case, you can add the logo, you can hide the name of the company. Again, fake dashboard, I'm totally confident that I can show that to you. And you can, using the same technique that I just showed you with navigation button and text box, make something more relevant. So here in this case, instead of having this gray out that we have a pink line to show the selection because the pink is one of my corporate color, and like my different navigation button on the blue. So it's clear for me that I am on spending. If I would have clicked on visit, I will be dragged to visit dashboard. Let me drink a little. So like I said, sometimes I have to create navigation page. And they asked me like, hey, Annabelle, can you create a landing page? So that is a funny landing page that I have done for fun in Tableau Public. But again, you can do something maybe with this honeycomb with just the name of the dashboard. Sometimes, it's facilitated. So how it has been done, and I can show that to you. This one. So what happened is like if I click, so it's a funny story. I started doing that because I thought that my Tableau Public was becoming, messy. And I tried to regroup some of the dashboard in some category for the user if he would like to click. For instance, if I go to entertainment, you will have like some of the list. This is a little updated. We don't have the new one. Of dashboard I have done for entertainment. If I go to resume, you can see that I have done 2 resume in Tableau. Business dashboard, I go, I display some business dashboard that I have done. So here it's like, you see it's 2. So one is a landing page with just some image by column and rows. And when you click there, that's trigger an action. That just filter out the different dashboard matching this category. And then the other technique consists of, and I will show that to you, as soon as I click on dashboard action, so you will see, that's just an URL action. So that's technique of creating a landing page, you can apply it if you have to communicate between different workbook in different sites or in different projects. So simply here, by clicking on navigation by thematic, which is this worksheet, you will be dragged to a certain URL. Landing pages are very difficult to maintain. So again, try to communicate with the stakeholder that maybe there is other way, but totally feasible in Tableau, no problem. Okay. So yeah, that's another example. That's the one that I did in Tintin with navigation page, same technique. These are information info button that I use with image. So I just did a screenshot of the different dashboard in my workbook, and I just apply them as a navigation button. Okay, so after the navigation is how to interact with the dashboard. And that is both crucial for explanatory and exploratory. It's as crucial of understanding the data. they need to know how to use dashboard, otherwise they will miss some very important insight. If they don't know by clicking, they can drill down in the data, yeah, you lose like an important information. So how to interact with a dashboard? So you can create you have different techniques. You can obviously create an intranet page, or PowerPoint or PDF explaining how to click. You can give trainings, no problem. You can also use and create a user guide on Tableau desktop, so they can just click by demand. So we will see one example, and you use like floating container and an image created in PowerPoint, and you don't need to have like crazy software to be able to do that. But the majority of the case, just give clear instruction. So I have my title, I give on the subtitle, I don't know, click to filter by region, hover to have more information, some clear information and instruction what will happen when we will click or hover. That is already a big win. And 80% of the dashboard I see every day don't have that, sadly. So obviously, and after you have to harmonize your instruction. If you used to put all the instruction, I don't know, in italic and 9, please do that across the full dashboard, so the user can really identify very quickly what are the instructions. So here, for instance, that's an example of a user guide. Very easy. You have a screenshot of your dashboard. You have a small text box in it to explain how to do that and what happened. So here you have like how to do that, but I can explain it to you. So let's just escape. We will create a new diapositive. So the idea will be like just to take, for instance, this one. I put it on my PowerPoint. Let me change this image. Let's put like an image from Tintin, so I can show that to you directly in Tintin, because I have this open and I don't have the other one. So here by Tintin, what I do, usually I just go to text. I give, for instance, a text information, this bar chart represents. So I will not write it right now, but that's the idea. I create a different form, different arrows, click to filter maybe. Obviously, I will change the color. I can really go very quick. So click to filter. And then what I do myself, because I want that my dashboard, when I put this user guide into my dashboard, it's perfectly fit. So I go to image and I select the one that I just copied, and I make it transparent, completely transparent, or even like blank. Why I do that? Because I want still to have the same dimension. So when I will copy paste this image into my dashboard, it will be clear for me that everything will be very well aligned. Otherwise, you can have like some issues. So let's go back to this definition. So like I said, I copy paste the dashboard into a PowerPoint. I put all the comments that I need, and that obviously it requires sometimes. That's why I'm not doing it completely today. I change the background picture to 0 transparency, so it's perfectly. And then I just save the description, everything as an image. Then I go to Tableau desktop. I think it was not this one. No. No, non plus. Yeah. And then I just, so let's go on one that I already put it. So then what I do, show. So here it's an image. So if I just click edit image, so exactly what I did. I did like a container. I put the image on my container. You can even like put like some text for them. And after I click on show hide button. And like this, so here I shows like some show and hide button that are a little different than the eyes or the eyes cross, is to go with my thematic of like comic strip. But that's it. And by doing exactly this image on the same dimension than my dashboard, when I copy paste, it fits perfectly. So let's go back. Okay, so like I said, like how to having like a user guide is very, very important, but you can have some instructions. So it doesn't have to be very heavy. You see here, maybe select an album. You can obviously put the icon for showing that they have to click. Here it's under the subtitle, it's explaining over on the highlight line to have maybe some comment. I could have even improved this instruction. And here I even explained that what is important is what it's hovering on this little circle. Okay, so labels. As your user explores the data, you will need to provide him or her with some help along the way. So obviously, you will have to give comprehensive title, what I am looking at, and reading clues, but also provide easy to read tooltip to accelerate the comprehension and eventually give some data warning. So for instance, let's go directly, we don't need. If I learn how to use this, maybe. So what is important, like I said, okay. So like, for instance, let's go back. You see here, I have different, I have a workbook where I have done an analysis of character presence per pages, per scenes, and everything. These two seems very similar, but I give a title. Here on my title, I said that is by page. That's analysis by page. That is by scene. So I have a cue already for my user to tell them, hey, here my title is what I'm explaining what you are looking at. Maybe 2 sentences also as a subtitle explaining what will happen. And tooltip. Tooltip are very important here. Tintin 58%. Yes, it's 58% presence by scene. But if I have on my tooltip a little more information, it's even better. So by the way, you can obviously control the tooltip directly on the dashboard, so not need to go to the worksheet. You just go to the worksheet menu, and obviously you have to select what you are looking for, otherwise it's not working. So worksheet menu, tooltip, and you see here, I really likely character, so now it will tell me if it's Tintin, Milou, Dupont, appear in I work the tooltip to be able to have a sentence. That is very useful. It's much more useful than if you have something like that, right? So let me put it bigger for you. If I have something like that, it's very hard to understand for my user. So that's why having a little sentence on the tooltip can do a wonder, and I always encourage you to do so. The same here. I give overview how to read this this workbook. So this workbook gives the character present for every page in every album. And what I have done here, explain something, some methodology again. You remember I told you the first album contained 130 pages. It's a double, more than the double than the rest of the album. And why I did that? So let's go back here. It's to explain to a user when they will hover. Here, Milou appears on the first album. The second column is also the first album, and the third column is also the first album, whereas the fourth is the second, three, and maybe we don't understand what I have done here. So that's why I put on my note, hey, look, the first album contains so many pages, and I didn't want to have like a very long one for column one with 130 rows. I wanted to harmonize it. So that's why I split it in 3 columns. And I avoid question and I avoid issue that people will not have understood. And very easy, very trendy, I put it on the tooltip. And then it's comment. Comments are very crucial on explanatory dashboard. And this Tintin case is an explanatory, like I said. I want, if I have done the analysis and I want to present my insight, I want to guide my user through some finding that I found myself. So to do that, I will provide some comment or annotation and also help them to have some interactivity, to have some fun. So to do that, you can do using the built-in annotation, the one by Tableau, but you can also create a visual cue and a tooltip to explain where the comment has to be found. You can show the show and hide button, like the one for the how-to, but this time displaying comments. And you can also create a dynamic annotation. So this one, for instance, here, this example, Captain Haddock appear for the first time in album 9. This one is using the building annotation in Tableau. The problem with that is that it will appear every time that Haddock will be displayed. So how to do that? Very easy. So let's put, for instance, this one. I right-click, annotate. I decide to annotate this point. And maybe I put tournesol appears in album 12 for the first time. So this annotation can always be edited, like everything in Tableau. So you right-click, format, and you can add a single edge and your border. So the single edge will just give you one row. The four side will really drive the box around. And then you can totally play. I don't want to have any shading. I want that my border is a little bigger, and I can even choose the color from tournesol to make it like more relevant for them. So very easily you can drive some annotation. This little line, it's also something that you can adapt and edit. So I just put it like this. So that is one of the way that you have to give annotation, to give some insight, data insight that you have found, or explanation that you have found on the dashboard. Okay. I had a lot of fun with this dashboard, I assure you. Some hours also of working, yeah, for fun. So whereas I was analyzing, so the composition, so here it's analyzed how many scenes. So in every page on every album, you have a number of scenes that appear. And I wanted to check one theory, that more scenes you have, and more thrill, more action you have. So I plot the number of scenes per page for each album, and I check. And and I check. So let's go directly to this dashboard. I think it's where the thrill, exactly. So I check if when on this album, for instance, the select album, here is a card with album number 9, you have number of scenes, it starts with 16. 16 is the maximum, or maybe 17 is the maximum, 17 is the maximum, and you go down until 2 or 1 scene. So what I've done is, like, I make a comment on specific one that really have like a thrill in the action. So let's hope that this one has a thrill. So here, for instance, a fire happens on the boat due to Haddock bad habit, because Haddock is like a very bad guy, is drinking a lot and smoking a lot, and a lot of mischief happen due to that. So here, like you can see, my user will be able to click in any of the album and read some comments that I have done in specific page. Not in every page I have done that, but in some page for every album I have done it, especially when the number of scenes is very low or very high, because yeah, it was like really a revelator or something was happening. So how we do that? And again, both dashboards, all the dashboards are downloadable. You can have a look. So I did it in 2. Again, I'm not recommending that for business dashboard. I think that's a use of story. It's much more easy, but what not? Huh? So here I put 2 calculations. The first one is to calculate the circle. So I just say, okay, in specific album, so here album number 1, on page 41, I want to say something. So that will display the number of scenes, so that will be appearing, and I will be able to make a dual axis and have these 2 plot together. And on the other one, I say, hey, on my album 1 and on my page 41, that is the comment I want to display, for instance, a funny story about ghosts. And by having both on the calculation, I can show you. So it's just a dual axis with the same number, and the tooltip will appear when you hover under this little round. Okay. Again, that is another example to be able to give a comment. So on this view, what I found very interesting is like the relationship. So it's a relationship between the different, not this one, not, you see, I had a lot of fun on this Tableau. So for instance, I noticed that in some page, so now it's a full page, we have like between 1 and 6 characters appearing on the same page. And I wanted to know the combination of this character. So obviously, if you click on, for instance, none of our friends are present, they still have page in certain album where no one is there, no one that we know. So for instance, in the album 8, that happened 5 times. That's not usually the main, but that's interesting to see that some page, we don't see any of our character. We have some page that we have only 1 character, some page that we have 5 character, and only 1 page in all the album that we have the 6 character together. So obviously, when you hover over one case, you can see which character are present. But when I'm talking about comments, here I'm giving the comment from my comment. And very simply, I want this comment to be updated. I create a calculation giving, so here we can even like comment our presence. Again, I'm not recommending that, but this one is like maybe the easiest that you could even implement. So I just put the character per page. If my parameter, and it's a parameter action that trigger that, it's 2. So if it's album, no, not album 2, if it's 2 character per page that analysis that we are interested in, I will display this information. If it's a 1, we will display this information, and so on and so forth. So that is another way also to like to give like some comment to my user, and yeah. And I think the last one, no, it's not the last one. I have a much more complicated one. The easiest one is this one. It's exactly the same technique than the how to use guide. Is a screenshot. I put the comment. So here I have a comment for every character, for Milou, for Dupont, and I use a hide and show container. Again, very easy, but this one is not, there is like, it's an image, so it's not updatable, or it's not so easy to do, to update, let's say. And then is like, I really wanted to have like something that looked like the annotation button, as an annotation feature, but that is like interactive. So I come up with this design. So that are not an image. That is really calculated in Tableau, and I will show it to you. Yeah, usually I do everything in Tableau. I hate when I don't like to put some image in Tableau, except for this how to do guide. I really like to have my design done entirely in Tableau. So here, how it is done, it's like we can go. So here, if I click on Milou, I will have my own comment. So Milou line will be at light, and I will have my own comment on Milou on certain page. on certain album here. If I click on Tintin, different album will be highlighted, and the Tintin line is highlighted, sorry. So how it is done? It is done with a dual axis. The first one give the rank, because here it's a rank. So we can see that Tintin used to be the number 2 in terms of presence. And when other character will be introduced, it go down to number 3, it go back to number 2, it go down to number 4, because other character took over. You know, this kind of analysis. So how it's done? One is like a bump chart, normal, and the other one give me the comments. So the other one, it's a measure value in which I have the start and the end. So 2 points that I'm plotting on the view, and I'm linking the 2 plot to be able to have this vertical line. And then I just put my comment on, I think I put one of the label on the start of the line. So again, I'm explaining here how to do that. Dual axis, want to highlight the line, and it's the highlight of the line is the parameter, obviously. And then, hey, look, if the character highlighted is ad hoc and the album is number 12, then that's a comment that you have to put. And you can ask me like, yeah, why you have this weird, what's the name, spaces? So ad hoc and Tintin appear, space, on the same page, number of page, space. It's just to have the comments appearing in 3 different lines, because it's a plot. I cannot have it very high, so I really have to manage the space. Okay, so yes, my last slide for you today is like, yeah, really think about all of the little detail. So think about adding some comment about the methodology, give some data warning, what is the data scope, which hypothesis you have taken along the way, explain clearly how to navigate to your user with one of the different techniques, how to use or to interact with your dashboard, give some label for facilitate the exploration, and some comment, obviously, to facilitate the storytelling if you need. And then always listen. The communication is always a two-way street. You have to listen, check the usage. Is my dashboard being used? Yes or not? What is going well? What is going not so good? So you can improve. It's by listening of the usage and my stakeholder, I will really be able to create something clear for them. Maybe it's something that you haven't explained how to interact, and you can do by some simple steps really increase your usage and the experience of your user. Yes, that's it. That's, like I said, everything can be found in Tableau Public, and please feel free to reach out to me or ask me any question. I'm always happy to answer. And now let's try to see if I can go back so I can see some faces.
Hey, thank you, Annabelle. I think that was a great session just to show us the value of, I think, I really love the way you went ahead and talked about the user playbook. That is something I never thought about it. So thanks a lot for sharing about that. Any questions someone has for Annabelle? Happy to go ahead and unmute you, or just feel free to put in the chat. I think we are already over time, but
yeah, it's not too much. Sorry.
No. If someone has any question, happy to unmute you over here. I think I can go ahead and ask you one question, Annabelle, over here. So, what has been your experience in terms of increasing adoption? Like you mentioned the whole user journey over here. Will you go ahead and recommend everyone if we go ahead and create the user guide, or if we go ahead and think about navigation, or thinking about how we can go ahead and make our dashboard more interactive? It literally helps the users to adopt the product better over here in terms of dashboards and all.
Yeah, I think the interaction part is very, very crucial. as soon as they notice that they can click and drill down, is like a game changer for them. So if you have to only change something, put some instruction at the bottom.
Yeah. I think I can relate it like using a new app, right? You take time to get accustomed to it, something like that in terms of a dashboard also. I think Joy is asking one question. Should I unmute him? Are you comfortable in that?
Oh yes, fine.
Hey. Hey Joy, can you hear us?
Hi. Thank you so much for the session. It was really beautiful and I learned so much. So, um, as a newbie, right, if I'm making personal projects on, say, something like what you did with Tintin now, for example, how do I differentiate when like, oh, I'm supposed to make this dashboard exploratory or explanatory?
It really depends. For instance, if you are like, I mean, 90% of my case or 80% is only doing exploratory. I say it slowly because my English is not. Where I give a tool for other user, my business user, to analyze their own data. If I have to present, for instance, a dashboard or some insight, for instance, now I am doing some analysis on my own to see, because, for instance, I am a big company and I want to know where my user use Tableau. So how many license, Tableau desktop license I have, for instance, in Switzerland, how many license I have in whatever in America. So that I will do a dashboard for myself and I will maybe present it to my boss. So here, the dashboard I will do will be totally explanatory because I don't need my boss to click. I will go and give him all the information for him to use. So it's really, really, and usually explanatory are like one-shot dashboard.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
That is my explanation, but you can look at Andy Kirk definition. It has like a full chapter about that.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
my
Thank you
favorite
so
author.
much.
You're welcome.
Perfect. I think with that, thanks a lot, Annabelle. It was an honor to have you on VizConnect. Thank you for sharing all the best practices, tips, and tricks with the community.
Thank you very much for inviting me. I hope to be inviting for next year.
Yes, yes.